Hits by the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Coast, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we're gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination.
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Segura, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyway, folks, today we are going to talk about, before we get into what we're going to talk about, a disclaimer real quick, guys. This is not a depression video. This isn't about me hinting towards anything, feeling some type of way. This is simply a conversation I had with somebody special in my life, and it was just a topic I felt that should be addressed. Anyhow, with that, guys, this is what it is. The topic of today is dying alone, right? So, some people fear of death. Some people, we accept it for what it is. At least for myself, I believe it's inevitable. Do I wish to go? No, of course, none of us want to, but we know it's inevitable. So that's that's just my personal opinion about it, right? The thing I always try to address to people is that it's or to my family, anyways, is that at some point in time, the unfortunate's going to happen. So we sometimes as parents, as family members, or whatever the case may be, we try to make sure we bring that across to the family, so they know what our wishes are, or we tend to kind of tell them, hey, look, we're here now. Right now is the time to get whatever you need to get off your chest, off your mind, off your back, whatever it may be, right? With that, also, it's I've also heard of the unfortunate of some family members have told others, you're gonna die alone, and like, whoa, that's just, I mean, that's the situation, right? Let's just say there are people who have passed alone, right? But let's get into that, though. See, in life, we don't get along with everybody all the time. And sometimes people say something in the heat of the moment. And I tend to observe things. It's kind of like being intoxicated with people sometimes, because people say, well, I was intoxicated. But when you're intoxicated, a lot of people say the truth of how they really feel. So therefore, the way I see it is, if somebody said something like that and you really meant it, like, unfortunately, guys, I'm a very grudgeful person. I hold to stuff like that, or to any kind of stuff. I mean, unfortunately, right? I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. This is just my personal opinion. However, I really don't believe that everybody, dies alone. Due to the fact that, I believe that our loved ones come to receive us, right? Now, this can bear into religion. It can bear into beliefs. Whatever you believe in, I respect it. This is just totally, on my opinion, on myself. But here's my reason as to why, and I will let you guys in on something. In 1999, my mother had my mother, God rest her soul, she's passed on now, but no, she didn't pass on at this time that I'm about to tell you. She had a brain surgery. She had a tumor on the right side of her brain, and she was in a home. She was placed in a home because, for temporary, and then I brought her home to take care of her. But besides all that, when she was in the home, this is late 1999. We're talking November, December. It might have been early January of 2000, but anyhow, it was around that time frame. She was in the home, and she wasn't mentally all there after the surgery. She had a lot of she would say a lot of things that were kind of like off topic, like what the heck, like she wasn't all there mentally. But I was thanking God that she was alive. So I went to go see her at the home and stuff, and she was laying in the bed and stuff, and she said, "Hey, why hasn't your father come to see me?" And I kind of freaked out because my father had passed away in '97, so he had been gone two years already, right? Two years going on 3, actually. He passed away in October, so let's just say it was 2 years, right? Regardless of the point, he was no longer around by the time she's asking this. And I'm like, I didn't know what to tell her. I was just kind of like, I go, well, no, he's been working. I told her he's been working. I kind of just went with the flow of it. And she said, well, but he's come over here. And I, well, what do you mean, And she said, well, he came and he was standing at the door in the doorway. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, he stood in the doorway and he was just staring at me. She goes, and I motioned for him to come in, and he just nodded and said no, and he walked away, but he never came into the room. And that's always stuck with me, I mean, and being honest as I can be, guys, I mean, it always kind of like, wow, but she still lived on another 8 years after that. So at that point, I believe that, he did come to see her, and it wasn't her time yet. So back to what I'm talking about people passing and people, passing alone is how I see it. The other thing too is I don't mean to, I don't want to get all, I got to see my father pass, and it was a hard moment to, see them laying in the hospital bed. And we're talking, say, for example, somebody passes of natural causes of age or whatnot, or a terminal illness or stuff like that. So you already know what's coming. It's unfortunate for those who, for example, people say, oh, nobody wants to die alone. But if you are driving by yourself somewhere, unfortunately, you happen to pass in a car accident, I mean, that same difference, right? I mean, just food for thought, guys. But anyhow, I was just kind of like, having to see somebody pass, right? And they're there. There was an unfortunate situation that happened. I'm not going to get into that. But my mom asked my dad in the moment, and he was already, kind of, taking the shoulder breaths, and he was kind of in and out of consciousness. And she asked him, like, hey, you want me to call so-and-so? Somebody that he, that somebody that he loved, but he was done wrong. I'll just put it like that. And he nodded no. He nodded no. He didn't want that person there. So I say all that to say this, because this was part of the conversation, and during the conversation that I had with this special person in my life, I said, hey, I never thought about it that way. I had an epiphany, right? I was like, I think that the event, like, I mean, you know, if I'm fortunate enough to pass of natural causes, or you know, have natural causes and stuff like that, you know, it's not all of a sudden, or whatever the case may be. If I happen to be in that same situation where I'm going and I'm, you know, sorry to get graphic, guys, I'm connected to tubes and ventilators and all this other stuff, and I'm unconscious. Sometimes we you know, we tend to think as human beings, like, I had my mom, you know, or my dad connected to ventilators and stuff. My mother, unfortunately, later on in life, she fell into a coma. We go over there and talk to them. You know, can they really hear us? We really don't know. We hope for it. We're told medically, right? But medical and spiritual belief are two different things, and it depends on how you feel about it. And I'm not trying to, you know, bring a cloud into the room and make you guys feel bad or worse for whatever the situation is. Again, this is my personal opinion. However, with that being said, guys, I felt like, you know, can they really hear us? Yet, at the same time, it goes back to, we had the time. We had the time with them. Now we're trying to make up for time, because we want them to know that we love that we love them or whatnot, right? But at the same, unfortunately, I will say this. Fortunately, I did have that second chance, so I don't suffer from that kind of mental stress over stuff like that. I'm speaking in general now. The thing about it is, when something like that happens, and say we weren't in the best behavior with people, or we did somebody wrong, or whatever it is, and then the unfortunate happens, and then we go to the hospital trying to apologize and trying to do, is it really there? Are we really there for them? Or are we there for ourselves, to try to make ourselves feel better and feel like, hey, you know what? No, you know, I got to tell them that I love them, or I got to tell her that I loved her. Yeah, but we don't really know if that person really heard you, or really even cared if they couldn't talk at that moment, you know? It's a sad thing, you know? I believe it's a sad situation, you know? You know, I'll put it to you like this, and this was part of the conversation that we had. You know, I said to this person, I said, you know what? I honestly feel that if I was in that situation and I'm still conscious enough to hear what's going on, you know, and I wouldn't want to be surrounded by fake people. I would rather die alone, rather than to be surrounded by somebody trying to apologize to me after they had all the time in the world to do it, or reconcile anything with me. You know, because even though and I'm contradicting myself, because I say I'm a grudgeful person, but at the same time, sometimes I feel like, well, you know, I mean, I'm trying to work on that. Like, as I spoke on this before on a different channel, I'm trying to work on that. But at the same time, if I was in that situation and I was fortunate enough to still be able to hear, I don't think I want those people around me, no matter what they said. You know, I'd rather pass alone, because I think it's more of I'm transitioning into, and this is again on your whatever your belief is. I'm transitioning into another world, if you will, and I want to go in peace. You know, again, it's inevitable. It will happen at some point in time. You know, do we know when? No, we don't know when. You know, but yeah, I mean, that's really it. I wouldn't want to be surrounded by people trying to apologize, trying to say all this other stuff when perhaps in life they told me something that was just like they said it with so much anger and hoping for it. You know what? I look at it like this: in due time, they will realize and they'll figure it out. In life. And the thing about it is, I'll just say it like this, guys: life is, in fact, very short, right? And sometimes we tend to kind of gloss over things and whatever, it's whatever, and we feel we have time. With that, guys, it's also it's easier said than done because people don't listen and people don't care. Sometimes, we feel like, I don't care. I don't really care about this person, whatever it is, right? But when the moment hits, it becomes a different story. And with that, then we find ourselves in the hospital room, if we are fortunate enough to have that, or trying to reconcile, trying to apologize. We find ourselves talking to the sky. Oh, they're looking down on me, and they know that I really love them, and that I didn't really mean that. Or you're over there walking and talking to the dirt. That's if that makes you feel better, and I'm glad it does. But I'm not trying to rub it into anybody that's maybe going through something like that. But it's just that due to situations like that, we try to teach those around us that we love them, and we try to make it clear that it's part of life and it's going to happen at some point. Therefore, at the same way, some people hold resentment towards me. I cannot do that in return, due to the fact that perhaps they are family members and people that I can't do that to. So again, I kind of contradict myself on being grudgeful, but it's really when you have love for somebody, you can't hold resentment towards them and the same way they hold it towards you. But at the same time, I wouldn't want those same people by my bedside if I'm passing, because they have felt that way, and that's how you feel, then that you stick to that, and let it go. You had your time, and unfortunately time ran out, as it will for all of us. With that, this is Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Fred Segura. Not forever, but for now, signing out.
Haters shake the fist, suckers picture me rolling. Why you so mad? Why you so serious? You're in my rear view like the slow and delirious. Keep on mashing, getting plenty action. The home of the G's and pimps, I love it with a passion. Throw it up, it's California, where the sun lays to rest like every day. The home of the color rack, swap meets and bangers. Chuck Taylor's Lolos and them real dope slangers. This is reality, it's where I stay. Along the Pacific in the state of CA. Golden State, from Frisco to Compton and back to Central Cali where the party keeps rocking. It's a California state of mind, and you can't be mad, that's just how we ride. Golden State.
But it's really for me. I'm not saying that I'm greedy, but hip-hop is needy, so what the hell do you expect from me? It's the passion, I finally understand it. I'm hiding in the trees like a male praying mantis, searching for my prey. God, please come and bless me, help relieve my stress so I don't worry about death. Never said I was leaving, but dreaming on like Steven. Fallen angel, I'm Zeppelin, not ready for heaven. So please tell me, is there another way? So I can look up in the sky and say thank you for these better days.
1, 2, Vegas coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your doors. 5, 6, hip hop with the twist. 7, 8, please don't hate. 1, 2, Vegas coming for you.